Do your playlists look like this or this? Mine used to be the same. My sets were boring, predictable, and bland. But I've started experimenting with new ways to create my playlists. Now my sets are more creative, I found new ways of combining tracks, and I'm saving loads of time. In this video, I'm going to show you how to copy yourself to create new musical ideas, how to get the crowd to make your playlist for you, and new ways to think about your playlist that will transform your sets. Have you ever been playing a set and you get in the zone, your track selection is on point, and everything flows perfectly, but afterwards, you can't remember what you played? Luckily, Rekordbox can remember for you. After you finish rinsing, go to the tree view on the left and expand histories. This is where Rekordbox keeps track of every set you've ever played. Drill down by the year and then the month. Your most recent history will be at the bottom of this list. It's worth mentioning here that tracks only appear in the history once Rekordbox considers them played. That means they have to have been playing on the master deck for at least 1 minute. If you're triple dropping every 5 seconds, just be aware Rekordbox might not catch every track. The first scenario is our whole set was awesome and we want to preserve it. Right-click on the history playlist and select Turn the play history into a playlist. It doesn't look like it's done anything, but if you scroll to the top, expand playlists, you'll see it's created a playlist here with the same name. To keep things tidy, it's worth creating a special folder to keep these in. Right-click on playlists, create new folder, and I'm going to call it My Awesome Sets. Then drag the playlist in. This is so useful for a few reasons. If you're stuck for inspiration, you can dip into your greatest hits and see what worked, or even just play it again. You can use the playlist as a basis for a guest mix or recorded set, or you can use it as a starting point for other playlists. And it's a brilliant tool to learn from. If you want to play amazing sets consistently, it's always worth looking back over your best one. Then try to work out what it was about those sets that made them so good. Was it the key progression, how you controlled the energy, the BPM, or something else? I've often played absolute stinkers of sets, but there were still 20-minute portions where everything worked well. Sometimes I just want to remember those bits and not the whole thing. The trouble is, it can be hard to remember where those bits actually started, especially when the set is quite long. But there's an easy way to fix that, and it's something you already have. I've started to use a stopwatch during my sets. When I notice some transitions going well, I just press the lap timer. This gives me a rough idea at what point in the set I wasn't playing like complete garbage. If you're on some higher end controllers or things like CDJs, there's actually an even easier way to mark where in the set you want to remember. You can use what's called the tag function. This puts a little marker on the currently selected track. To find it again in Rekordbox, after your set, navigate to your history playlist. Open the playlist palette by clicking the icon on the right. Then on the left, choose the icon that says Tag. Any tracks you've tagged during your set will appear in this window. You can then match them with your playlist to see where the good bits started. Bonus points if you also tag the track where the good times ended. But don't confuse this with My Tag. My Tag is for permanently tagging your tracks, whereas this is more like a temporary marker. The big problem with playlists is you're trying to work out in advance how well those tracks will work. And sometimes you just get it wrong. Wouldn't it be cool if you could create playlists while you were actually playing and then optimize them based on live feedback from the crowd? We could put tags on tracks that work well, as we've just done. Then after your set, you can drag the tagged tracks into a new playlist. But this is a bit of a blunt force approach. Rekordbox has got a much more powerful built-in tool for doing this. It will let you build and reorder multiple new playlists as you're playing. It's called Playlist Palettes. You can access it with the palette button on the right. This brings up 3 slots of 4 empty playlists that you can drag tracks into. As soon as you drag a track into an empty slot, you can give it a name. This playlist will then be saved in your Rekordbox playlists. I like to think of palettes as a notepad. I can jot down future ideas for sets as I'm playing, and I've often found this results in ideas that I would just never have unless I was playing. You can even use the 4 slots for different purposes. Never play again, find more like this, play again next time, or add to guest mix. Genre is a great starting place for a playlist, and it's how many DJs begin to organize their libraries for the first time. Genre's good for helping you get to the right country, but it's not good for helping you choose which hotel to stay at. You know roughly what BPM the tracks will be, and sort of what they might sound like, but it has a lot of limitations if you want to take your sets to the next level. There's huge variation in tracks within the same genre, or even subgenre. Genre doesn't tell you anything about the feeling the tracks can evoke, and genres can change massively over time. I've spoken before about organizing your tracks by vibe in my video on building the ultimate DJ library. In that video, I pointed out 6 different ways to categorize a vibe, but I wanted to break that down a little bit more. Vibe gives you a much more intuition and feeling-based way of thinking about your music. It's a lot more personal and therefore powerful way of creating playlists. Think back to one of your favorite nights out. You probably can't remember many, if any, of the tracks the DJ played, but I bet you remember how you felt. If you can tap into the feeling a track can create, you can make sets that people will remember for years to come. A few examples of this kind of vibe might be euphoric, chilled, cheerful, or melancholy. Designing your playlist around feelings can help you turn them into emotional journeys rather than just banger cannons. Sometimes a track just makes you think of a certain time or place in your life. Not much is more personal to us than our own memories, and by using those is one of the ways we can make our sets personal and unique to us. If someone says to me, as they often do, play a set of tracks that make you think of being 17, I'd know exactly what to put on. Latin-influenced house always makes me think of long hot summers when I was growing up. Examples of this kind of playlist might be 90s School Kid, Parisian Bar, Aussie Gap Year, or Fabric at 2 AM. This is really powerful for trying to recreate a moment in time that certain listeners may respond to, and it can also be part of what gives you your own unique sound as a DJ. Sometimes a place or event plays a huge role in how you plan your playlists. The kind of tracks you might play at an office Christmas party will probably be different to your nan's 50th. Examples of a location or event-based playlist might be festival, graduation party, young couple wedding, or dirty old man pub. The music policy and crowd expectations at different events can have a massive bearing on the kind of music you can and will play. The best way to get a feeling for this kind of tagging is observation and experience. Next time you're invited to the wedding of someone you don't really like that much, pay attention to what kind of tracks the DJs play, and more importantly, pay attention to what kinds of people are dancing to which tracks. Unlike a static painting, music unfolds over time. It evolves as the listener progresses through the track, and DJ sets are experienced in the same way. The tracks you play within your own set or the event itself will change as it progresses. Time-based playlists could include warm-up, pre-headliner, 2 AM, or Sunday morning. Time-based tags often relate heavily to energy. You usually aren't going to be playing chill-out tunes at 2 AM in most clubs. I've done a full video on controlling energy in your sets, which I'll link to in the description. Every track in your set should have a purpose. Sometimes it's going to be to make people sing, or sometimes it's to just bridge the gap between different portions of your set. It's useful to have a few playlists which have a specific job or purpose, a bit like a DJ toolbox. Some examples might be sing-alongs, dance floor fillers, energy boosters, or crowd recovery. The best DJs have a deep understanding of the audience they're playing for. They know the makeup of the crowd and what tracks are likely to appeal to different sections of them. Playlists based on audience might look like old school junglists, party animals, after-work drinkers, or fans of a certain artist. The last one is a really fun one. I know if people like Sub Focus, they probably like Dimension as well, and I've got a bit of a theory they're the same person. Spotify is a really great tool for finding these connections. Search for one of the tracks you have in your playlist that you know appeals to a certain type of person. Right-click, and then choose Go to Song Radio. You'll then see a list of suggestions based on that track, which are likely to appeal to the same type of listener. Before you add any track to your playlist, ask these 3 questions. How does it make this playlist better? What benefit does it bring me as the DJ? And what benefit does it bring the listener? But having the best and most creative playlists isn't enough if the tracks in them aren't prepared properly. Check out this video next where I share some fatal track preparation mistakes that can derail your entire DJ set.